place to be found. It's like they all have just vanished, but I know they're around. I feel they're getting closer. Their hearts are sending chills down my spine. Our time is running out.
Welcome, my pack, my tribe, to Howling After Dark. I hope you like my new theme song. It's actually done by a band called Within Temptation, and the song is actually called The Howling. So, how appropriate can you be? Anyways, tonight's show is going to be interesting because... Oh, and hi Jeremy, by the way, who just said hi to me in chat. It's about LeyLines and other mystical places. And see, I was really thinking about this like earlier today, because there are certain things. Like Monday night, I was talking about how there's different styles of investigating. And how, like, I kind of have a problem with those who provoke, number one, and I also kind of have a problem with those who are ultra-scientific. What I mean by that is, like, they're so into the science behind it that they can't see the forest through the trees, so to speak. And this subject tonight with LeyLines and other mystical places kind of fits in that category, because to them, most of those type of investigators will tell you that it doesn't exist, or they'll try and explain it away in some scientific way, and that's kind of my big thing, because like some things you have to kind of just take on faith, and you would think, like in the paranormal field, we would get it by now that there are just some things that can't be explained by science. And this whole topic tonight kind of falls in that category, because while LeyLines certainly can give off scientific readings, like EM, for example, science will never prove or disprove the existence of these things. And I want to explain something. When I say I see spirits, I don't mean just spirits themselves. I also mean the energy that they're kind of made up of. And I've seen LeyLines. I know what they look like, or at least what they look like to me. It's kind of like... it's really kind of hard to explain. It's kind of like these huge, just lines of energy, kind of like a super highway, or a network of super highways that traverse the globe, made of spiritual energy. And I can't prove that. I can't say, hey, this is definitely spiritual energy. I can't say, that I can prove it, because I can't. Okay, there is no proof for it. You could either take it on faith or, don't. But I know what they are. In my heart, in my mind, I know what they are on a personal level. So, much of what we're going to be talking about tonight is stuff that I don't believe can ever be proven by science. Not until science itself actually embraces the paranormal, like, really. And it's not just considered fringe science or trash science or whatever, the hardcore scientists want to call it. Until that time happens, there's going to be no way to prove it, because there's going to be no striving to prove it by the world at large. But I know what it is. My ancestors knew what it was. They talked about it. They even drew cave paintings of it. So I know LeyLines are spiritual energy. I have no doubt about it at all. And I also know that certain mystical places, like Stonehenge, for example, is like a nexus. That's the technical term for it. What it is it's like the intersection where multiple lines meet. And for whatever reason, there's more mystical power there than any place else on Earth. And if that had anything to do with Stonehenge being built, I can't say. What I will say, though, is it is very coincidental that, all these mystical places happen to be built on these nexus points. Because there's Stonehenge, there's the Sphinx in Egypt, and all the pyramids are within close vicinity to a ley line. But the Sphinx itself was actually built on one of these nexus points that I'm talking about. Route 66, which we're going to be talking about in depth tonight, later on in part 2, is built to follow a ley line. I don't know if that was like a conscious decision by the people who engineered it, but it does. And it follows it pretty closely, which explains a lot of the activity that's been known to happen on Route 66. Then, then there's some more like natural places that weren't built by man, like the Sonora Desert in Arizona, which is known to have like these portals or vortexes of energy that people have been visiting for like thousands of years now, mostly to be healed. There's something about the energy that is very, very positive and very uplifting, and people have actually cured their illnesses on that spot, or in those spots actually, because they're kind of spread out a little bit. And then there's the Sacred Circle, as they call it in New Mexico, which is, it really should be the 8th or 9th wonder of the world. It really should be, because nobody knows who built it. But it's a stone circle in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico. And then all of the Anasazi ruins, which if you didn't listen to my show about the Anasazi, I'm actually going to do another show about them next week and how they probably tie into the Star Children or the Star Brothers, which are it's kind of like our term for aliens, I guess. But anyways, all of the Anasazi ruins are built either very close to a ley line, or the main one, the biggest one that they've ever found, is actually built right on a nexus point. And I don't think that was an accident. I think probably the elders, if not just the shaman of that tribe, could feel it, and probably knew what was there, and probably had them build there on purpose. And it's no accident, because like they're all cliff dwellings, like those quintessential native cliff dwellings you see in Arizona, New Mexico. That's what they are. Those are actually Anasazi ruins. And the thing about it is like if you go there and visit these places, you'll see it for yourself. They actually had like running water, um, and like these kind of like windmill things to bring water up to the top level, and it shows an advanced society long before they were doing the same thing in Rome. Back in, I think it was like 480 or whatever. So, another good example is, I hope I'm saying this right, Machu Picchu, the Mayan ruins in, outside of Cancun, Mexico, that, everyone, it was discovered not all that long ago, probably like 3-4 years ago, or whatever, and like tourists come from all over the world to visit it. That place, in general, I mean, if you were to go to any of these places, I'm very certain you would feel it. So, yeah. The I don't think these places were put there by accident at all. I just don't believe it. I think they were either guided there, or whoever had a feeling or whatever reason. I know in my heart it wasn't an accident. These places just happened to be built on these spots. And hold on one sec. Sorry, mouth was getting a little dry there. Anyways, yeah, so if you think about it, most of the quote-unquote mystical places in the world are probably within close proximity to either a ley line or a nexus point. And it's been believed that wherever these nexus points are, there are portals, which could explain a lot of the activity that happens there. For example, I don't think anybody could ever do a paranormal investigation officially at the Anasazi ruins in New Mexico, but I bet if they could, you would capture earth-shattering stuff there, because it's literally right on top of a nexus point. The same thing could be said for Machu Picchu and the pyramids in Cairo and Stonehenge, and all these mystical kind of wondrous places. Easter Island, by the way, the entire island is smack dab right in the middle of a ley line. Because the island isn't that big, but it... Just trust me on this. It's right in the middle of a ley line, and a ley line passes right through it, or over it, or whatever. Probably the biggest nexus point on the planet would be the Bermuda Triangle. And it's my personal theory that a lot of the planes and ships and whatnot that disappeared there either went through the portal that's there, which was created by the intersection of these ley lines right there, which is massive because more ley lines intersect there than practically anywhere else on the globe. Or the electromagnetic interference caused them to crash, or sink, or pulled them down, or whatever. But I don't believe at all that it's at all an accident. And I do believe in dimensional portals, first of all. That's always been a big belief of mine, and I think that a lot of the visions we have as shaman is kind of like a glimpse into that other world. But I don't think that that's all there is to the paranormal. I don't think we're just looking into another dimension. I think they are actually spirits. But I do see spiritual energy. Like, I can look at a house, basically, even never have been there before. I can look at a house and tell you if it's haunted or not, just by looking at the house. And the way I've explained it to my friends and my investigators on my team is that, like, when a house is haunted, it gives off a certain kind of energy, and kind of like the way it looks to me. The easiest way I have to explain it is like, have you ever seen like heat waves coming off asphalt on a hot summer day? It's kind of like that kind of like shimmering look is what I see. Or if it's super haunted, it's almost like it's, some kind of liquid oozing, only in reverse, like gravity is reversed or something. And I don't know, that's the only way I can explain it. So I see that similar kind of energy with these ley lines, so I know there is a connection. But there's literally ley lines and similar type phenomena practically everywhere. One of the most notable probably recently, although they didn't refer to it as a ley line or a nexus, what I believe that it is in the I forget the name of the place now. I'm totally drawing a blank. The area where Linda Tate's house is, in L.A. Linda Tate being one of the famous victims of the Manson family back in the 60s, is known to be heavily haunted, and they referred to it on Ghost Adventures as a electro or geomagnetic anomaly. I believe the anomaly itself is that it's, there's a ley line there, or a nexus point, which is causing all this stuff. Although, I gotta say, compared to some other places I've experienced, that one is relatively small. But the thing is like, you can't really prove it. I mean, you can prove that, yeah, there's some kind of electromagnetic or geomagnetic stuff going on here, but you can't really prove that it's a ley line. You either got to take it on faith or you don't. And it's pretty much as simple as that. But these things are literally everywhere. There's one that runs right through the Mansfield Reformatory here in Ohio. It actually runs through Mansfield itself, which is why so many places in Mansfield are haunted, and why Mansfield is known as the haunted capital of Ohio. But what people don't understand or don't know is that there's also one that runs right through Barberton here, And there are tons of places. There's actually more places here that are haunted than in all of Mansfield. But it's just the people around here, because they're kind of like Bible Belt type people, don't really talk about it. And yeah, so I mean, but they are everywhere. I'm pretty sure that you could name any haunted place, and I could tell you that it's within close proximity to a ley line or a nexus. Bobby Mackey's. Uh, well, that's actually close to a couple different things. It's not only close to a nexus and a ley line, it's close to kind of like a portal. And plus the fact that water runs right underneath it probably isn't helping matters any. So yeah, and then you've got like Old Pittsburgh Hospital, which is actually in Pittsburgh, Tennessee, not Pennsylvania, by the way. LeyLine, the Winchester Mystery House, LeyLine. You know, there's so many different things are just close to LeyLines. Half of the haunted stuff well, there's actually a massive ley line that runs through Utah. So a lot of the hauntings that take place in Utah could probably be directly attributed to that. It used to be, originally back in the day, speaking of Utah, there was a tragedy that happened, and I think it was 2004. There was a major shooting that happened at a mall there that it's called drawing such a blank. I don't know why I'm having so many brain farts tonight. But it's like this mall that was built out of the tram houses that used to be there, where they used to store and work on the little commuter trains, like the streetcars that they used to have there in Salt Lake. And, within walking distance to a major ley line. Route 66, like I said before, and we'll talk a little bit about later on, pretty much follows a ley line pretty closely, actually. And I don't know if that was like intentional, as far as like whether the engineers that laid out its route were aware of that. I kind of doubt it, but hey, you never know, because there was a big like spiritualist or occultist movement, back in the 20s and 30s, which is when it would have been engineered. But yeah, so like if you think about it, I mean, it would kind of look like a massive like spider web, kind of like covering the planet. That's kind of what ley lines would be. And you can actually look this up online. They actually have maps of ley lines for all over the world. You just look up ley line map probably on Google or whatever, and you could probably find one. But it's my honest belief that there are even more than they show on those maps. Actually, hold on a second. Let me see if I can't find one real quick. I mean, this one here isn't. Actually, hold on. Let me go back. This one here isn't the world, but it does cover the United States, and it does kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and post this in our chat room so you guys can look at it. But it does give you kind of an idea of what I'm talking about. All those red lines you see are ley lines. And they're not exactly straight like that. It just kind of gives you an idea. But like those big red spots where they all intersect, those would be nexus points. And you can see on this map, like there's one up in Canada, there's another one, probably like 50 or so miles east of the very southern tip of Florida. There's another one in Mexico, and then there's a bunch of little ones all over the United States. And that, it just kind of gives you an idea. And there's probably even more than that, actually. And actually, I'm gonna post another picture too. That's, this is kind of global view. Once again, it's not exact because they aren't exactly straight lines, but it just kind of gives you an idea. So here's the global view, sort of. And I know there's a lot more than this, actually, but what the heck? Hold on a sec. I guess it takes you to another page, but it kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. So, if you think about it, though, like logically, it does make sense that these things exist because, and it makes sense that it's spiritual energy because how many people have died on the planet? And that energy's got to go somewhere. And if like, let's say I died and I'm a spirit, but I want to go across the world, what better way to get there than to become a part of this energy and traverse the globe. I don't know. I don't know if that's accurate, but it makes sense to me. So, there you have it. See, I'm trying to keep my eye on the time. I've got about 13 minutes left in this session, so if I suddenly go off the air without notice, don't go anywhere because I'll be back. But if you look at the one that's over the United States, you can actually, it doesn't really show it on here, but you can actually kind of see where it follows Route 66, or other way around, whichever. There's kind of like a line, goes from like LA up through Bakersfield, south of Las Vegas into Albuquerque, over to Amarillo, Oklahoma City, Little Rock, then up towards Memphis and Nashville, which is, both very heavily haunted places, and then kind of, well, on this map it doesn't show it, but there's kind of one that goes through Roanoke and Charlotte, and another one that comes up and goes through Charleston and all that. But it does, it does give you a pretty good idea. I know that there's more than one that actually goes through Boise and up through Montana. There's a couple lines on this that are missing, I believe, anyways. But, it does give you a general idea of what I'm talking about. But, on this map, there's a small nexus point outside of Salt Lake City. And then there's another one in Indianapolis, another one in Sioux City, another one in upstate New York, let's see, Dodge City, which makes sense because that place is crazy haunted. But, that's just some examples of what I'm talking about. And you can see even on this map how some of these places are world-renowned for their hauntings. So it's not a stretch at all to think that they're related. It doesn't show it on this map, actually, but if you go to Ohio, you do kind of get the idea of where one might be in Mansfield. But like I said, there's a few lines missing there. And I do know that there's actually a big nexus point right there in Mansfield, Ohio, which, is not at all out of the ordinary. But, I'm sure there's like quite a few more up in Ireland where a lot of their haunted activity takes place, like Loftus Hall and the Hellfire Club, and I think it's in called Montclair. Mont something or other in Ireland. I don't remember. But, I'm sure of it. I'm sure that everywhere you find one of those connecting points, there's going to be major haunted activity. And I also don't think this is an accident. If you actually look at some of the global maps at Russia, like that whole area of what used to be the USSR, there is one within close proximity to where Chernobyl was, which isn't actually called Chernobyl, by the way. Its name escapes me. It's something like Pripyat or Priyat. Not sure how to pronounce it, but and they are allowing investigations there, by the way. You have to be fully outfitted. So it's like $1,000 an hour or some ridiculous price like that. But they do actually allow investigations there. I received a thing and received a notice about it. Somebody sent me a while back, and I was like, wow, if only I had that kind of money. Yeah, but yeah, it's not an accident that like these places are like live wires for the paranormal at all. It really isn't. It doesn't show it on that map, but there should be another nexus point right on San Diego. And I know that because, well, I lived there for a long time, and I know how haunted that place is, and I've seen it. I could even tell you approximately its exact location. It's actually not on land, though. It's like right offshore where that nexus point is. And within like probably 500 yards to the shoreline, there's a nexus point right off of San Diego Harbor. Which probably explains why one of the most haunted places I've been to, other than the Whaley House in San Diego, was the Star of India, which is an old three-masted bark sailing ship from the 1800s that very haunted. No doubt about it, very haunted. And once again, it doesn't really show it on that map, but I know there's some major ley lines in a nexus point right here in Barberton. Actually, I'm pretty certain that there's a nexus point right either in or above Lake Anna here in Barberton, which, if you're not local to the area, you probably have no clue what Lake Anna is, but I'm going to tell you. Lake Anna is very mysterious for a few reasons. Number one, the area around the lake is heavily haunted. We've investigated there many, many times. And there's quite a few other areas that are around there. Also, there's believed to be a cryptid in the lake, much like the Loch Ness Monster. And I know this thing is real because I haven't seen it, but I've heard it. We were doing an investigation there. We weren't even looking for cryptids at all. And all of a sudden there was this huge splash behind me, my back to the lake, checking my equipment. And I turned around, and you know how like when you throw a pebble in a water, it just kind of makes a round ripple effect? Well, this one was really long from the center, so it was like something kind of serpentine, and it was huge. It wasn't a fish. It was far bigger than any fish I've ever seen. And, including the quote-unquote river monsters. It definitely was nothing like that. So, yeah. And the other mystery about Lake Anna is they don't know how deep it is. They have no clue. And no one's ever been able to investigate how deep it is because it's fed by an underground spring. And, the tide down there would just suck you in and you'd be done. You would be dead right there. So they can't really investigate it, and they couldn't get an accurate reading. Even with sonar, they have no idea. So, pretty friggin' deep, I'm assuming. And there's a lot of things within close proximity to the lake itself also that are very, very haunted, such as Alexander Commons, which we've kind of highlighted on the show before. One of our favorite EVPs comes from there. The whole "come and find me, I'm in the building" came from Alexander Commons, which is not even a block away from where Lake Anna is. There's Wendigo Hill. There's, I could go on naming stuff in Barberton, all night long. But I've only got a minute and a half left for this portion of the show. So, just don't go anywhere. I'll be back. You know the drill. Anyways, what I think is really cool about this, though, is you take the paranormal, which is, as far as the world at large sees it, is an unsure thing. And then you take its relationship with these ley lines, and it gives it kind of an order, if you will. It makes it less of a chaotic thing. And speaking of chaotic things, stay right here. When we come back, we're going to start talking about the activity on Route 66, including one account of somebody's run-in with what they believe was the devil himself. Alright, stay tuned, my pack, my tribe. I will be right back.